All right, welcome. Okay, so it
Hey.
is the 23rd of November, right before Thanksgiving. What great timing to talk about this. So, when we get into the holiday season, things can get a little crazy, and a lot of people just say like, "Oh, F it all, just deal with it in January." And there's some crazy stat, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but like however many pounds most people gain in November, October, November, December, it takes like 6 to 9 months to lose in the next year. So imagine if you not only didn't
Wow.
have that to lose, but actually lost before January.
Sure.
That's what we're trying. That's what we're going for.
Yeah,
So that is
that would be good.
right,
I like that
exactly.
idea.
And like you, because I have your application here in front of me, and we spoke a little bit before, but um, Alisa said that she works out like crazy and she's super active. And so, when you're in that position, it gets to the point where you're like, well, what else do I do? Right? Like, I
Sure.
can't possibly
Sure.
burn any more freaking calories. And
Yeah.
I can't possibly be eating that much food that it's
Yeah.
offsetting all this activity. So, when you're in
Yeah.
that position and you don't want to gain weight, and especially if you want to lose weight, it does get to a point where you're like, well, what the heck do I do? And I want, hopefully, what I can give you today in the short period of time is clarity on what the heck you can do.
Yeah. Great.
Awesome. All right, for those of you who are with us live or we're going to be watching the replay later, like I said, Alisa said that she is super active and her body's not responding. And I wrote to her and said, can I please do this with you? Because this is exactly what happened to me. So back in 2006, I became a personal trainer. And when I became a personal trainer, I started counting my calories and exercising like crazy. And I wanted to look like a trainer.
A personal trainer. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was thin. I just wasn't muscular at all because unlike you, I didn't play sports ever. So I felt
Interesting.
kind of
Okay.
fraudulent. Like, what am I doing in this field, right? Like I like did theater.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
it just like a weird fit, but the universe handed it to me, and so I went with it. But I was obsessed with having this like fit body. And what happened was I started to gain a ton of weight and binge eat and overeat and stress eat and
Hmm.
emotionally eat. And all of a sudden I found myself in a position that most people come to me for, which is I'm doing all these things right. Like I'm eating healthy, I'm counting my calories, I'm working out. Like, so what the heck is going on with my body?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what happened to me. And then I reached my heaviest weight and I was like, F it all. I'm just buying new clothes. I got rid of all my old clothes that didn't fit. And I was like, I got to fix this. And I drove to the mall, but I never made it there because I was hit by 5 cars. And then I was injured. And it was when I was injured that I lost the weight. That's when I knew like, we're missing something like majorly here, because I followed all the rules
Yeah.
and gained. And then I literally did nothing. And like, the weight just fell off of me. So that's what hopefully we can help you see your plan is to do for that same kind of thing. But most likely
Without having to get hit by a car.
I always say that. I'm
Hopefully.
like, we can do this
Yes.
without the car accident because the lessons learned
Yes.
are
That's
all valuable.
exactly. Exactly.
All right. So just because not everybody who's watching us read your information, tell just like sort of a short
Sure.
synopsis of what's been going on for you and how you feel.
Um, hopefully I'm seeing a tiny bit of spottiness with the internet out here. It's not great, so hopefully it's not terrible for you. But I would just say, like, the quick synopsis is that I was an athlete. Growing up, I actually grew up a lot in a health club. My mom worked at the health club, so I did all sorts of sports. Did all that my whole life. Didn't really super struggle with my weight. Was healthy, but didn't struggle with my weight. I was happy with my weight, and I was active and healthy. After finishing collegiate sports, I moved home and was kind of like rapidly putting on weight. And I wouldn't say I was horrendously, involved in extra exercise at that point, but I was pretty rapidly gaining weight, and it wasn't, I would say, proportionate to my lifestyle. And then probably, between then and now, I have gone through maybe 5 rounds. And that's been, I should say, 10, 12 years. I've probably gone through 5 rounds of, I'm going to do this and get really, really serious about something. And either do keto or extreme low calorie and am able to push horrendously hard to lose the weight. But when I get to the maintenance portion, my activity is pretty stable because it's often something that I enjoy. I do enjoy being active. There is maybe times where it's extra, but the activity level is pretty consistent. But as soon as I drop off of either keto or extreme low cal, at varying degrees of speed, the scale will just creep up and up and up and up and up to the point where I'm finally, again, like, can't do it. Like, I'm not comfortable in my skin. I'm not comfortable moving. When it starts to get in the way of my activity and the things that I like to do actively, that's when it really bothers me. If I feel like I can't move properly because I literally feel like I'm wearing a seal coat, like, it's like, what is this here? I don't want it. And I attempt to lose it. And I'm a very successful dieter, really. I know how to do something extreme, but it's those in between times when, like you were saying, so clearly, like, the calories in and the calories out are just not anywhere close to I should be gaining, and I am. And that will just continue to creep and creep and creep until I get to a point where I just can't take it anymore. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm at actually kind of an in-between currently in terms of, like, right now. I did a little round of keto and lost some weight just to feel a little bit more comfortable. And I have since stopped keto. I had a kitchen renovation, and when I got done, I started making bread at home and, all the good stuff. So I was like, I'm not going to do the keto, but I'm consistently eating pretty healthy, and I'm definitely active. I do a workout program. I walk as much as possible, walk with my mom. I have almost 3 acres with animals and kids, and so I am constantly go, 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 go. So that is kind of where I'm at now. I feel pretty healthy. I do struggle a little bit with saying, like, do I even need to lose more weight? Am I giving myself a false sense of what I should look like because I know I'm healthy? Should I get rid of this false, ideal of what my body should look like? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I know that answer. And maybe that's part of it, is that, like, my mind's not made up that I even want it gone. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I definitely don't want to gain. That's for sure. I don't want to go back there. I don't want to be stuck back having to do some extreme thing to get it off. And even doing everything that I'm doing right now, it's like very, very slow, but I would say, like, I'm gaining like a half a pound a week. Like,
Yep.
it's just tick, tick, like, up it goes. And it's frustrating. It's really frustrating, for sure.
Yeah, that is the word. It's so frustrating. I think you mentioned something important, like, I am a healthy person. That's not really what the weight loss is about. You're not struggling with health concerns, which is causing you to have to lose the weight. It's more of a desire of yours. And so, is it real? And you don't even need to know the answer to that question, because most of the world approaches our body and food and movement in the wrong order. And so what we want to start with is, first, I help people get a really healthy relationship with food. Like, that's step one, to where you no longer view food as the means to your weight gain or your weight loss. It's just eating. It's this thing you do. It's part of your day. It's enjoyable. You experience it and you move on. And there's no rumination of, oh, should I eat this or I shouldn't eat that? Like, there's just none of that craziness about food. And like, that's step one, right? Like, just getting to a place with food where you're like, I'm not a dieter. Food has nothing to do with my body or weight. And then step two is kind of the same thing with movement. Like you said, you move because you enjoy it. So we want to remove any part of that conversation where it's like, I have to move to lose weight, or I have to move to avoid gaining weight. We want to make a healthy relationship with movement. And then it's like, after those two things, we just see what the body does. For a lot of people, when we heal those two things, the body just sort of goes to its healthy weight naturally without having to do anything. and get all the stress is off, all the stress of trying to lose weight, all the stress of dieting, all the stress of all the calories, all of it's gone. And so your body actually works really efficiently. Digestion's better, metabolism's better, everything is better because we've removed the huge stressor of my weight, which is like all consuming.
Yeah.
And so that's the order. Like we can't even talk about weight loss until we fix the other two things, because if we don't fix the other two things, we'll just stay on the cycle, right? The hamster wheel, and ride it forever. No matter what diet you do, if your relationship with food and movement isn't healthy, then it'll be crazy town. So that's the order in which we do things. Now, for people who change those two things and their body does not physically change at all, that's when you start looking at, okay, so this is me living where I don't have to worry about weight, I don't have to worry about food, I don't have to worry about movement. If my body's not losing weight naturally, is it something that really does need to occur? And if it doesn't, am I okay? And or do I think there's some other more subconscious thing that's holding the weight on the body, like maybe some kind of abuse or something where we haven't worked it through and it's being suppressed that way, right? But that's like 10 steps into the future, right? So that's the order. So let's start with food. When did you learn that food, it has something to do with weight?
I mean, maybe high school-ish. It wasn't necessarily that it was for me that I really super struggled with it. I would say I more discovered the relationship and how I could manipulate it. It was, you know, more, we were talking 5 pounds here, but it was like, oh, it's summer and I want to be, you know, just a little bit more trim and cut. And I definitely could see the way that I can manipulate it in my body. My mom's background is nutrition. So food and health and nutrition had always been a conversation. But in terms of manipulating it for my own body, in terms of the weight factor, I would say high school was probably when that started to come about. And of course, it's the classic, you look back now and you're like, oh, if only I had a clue how freaking great I looked. Like, I would have never even thought twice about it.
That's a common age of when it occurs, though, because you start to realize. I think that's the first time I had ever heard about it too, and I thought that was like brand new information. Like, oh, okay, food and weight, it's a thing. Like, I don't think I had thought about it prior to that. And the truth is that you can manipulate the body with food. I'm not going to pretend that that's not something that can happen temporarily, but it would be no different than, this is an extreme example, but like using steroids to get more buff, right? Like, you're just altering the environment temporarily, and that's not what's naturally happening. It's not really even giving your body a chance to do it naturally. You're intervening, you're manipulating it, like you said. And so it's never meant to be a long-term strategy. Even the calories in versus calories out isn't meant to be a long-term strategy. You know, wrestlers can use it, and athletes can use it to manipulate. Celebrities can use it for a movie. Like, they're not meant to be. The research on it all shows that the percentage chance of gaining it back is like 98%. So clearly it's not the way. But then the question becomes, what do you do instead? So I get that that's why we keep going there over and over and over again. So when you learned that you can manipulate your weight with what you ate, when did it turn into fear of, okay, now if I eat this or don't eat this, what will happen?
Probably after the first time I had a major weight loss episode. You know, going through college, I had gained some weight in college, even being, I was Division II athlete, you know, like we were doing extreme amount of exercise, 2-a-days very often, and I still had crept up a little bit from what I was in high school, but wasn't super concerned about it. When I came home and I put on, I think I was home from college maybe 6 months, and I had gained like 40 or 50 pounds. And it didn't take me super long, maybe another, 6-8 months of being that weight, to where I said, like, I don't like this. This is not comfortable. I am not happy. And I lost it all. Most of it. through almost a year of keto. It took me to really get that whole bit off. And I think that definitely, one, I know for a fact I am the person that gets the high off the weight loss. It is like dieting is one of the most satisfying things because it is those control mechanisms that you're going, I did this, I won, I did it. Like you watch the scale go down and it is so satisfying. And then, I kept it off a little while, slowly it crept back on. But of course, immediately then you start getting this mental idea that what I'm doing is gaining, and you're always watching it and you're always thinking, what am I doing here? And this little bit is going to set me off this direction. So definitely, I mean, after seeing the ramifications of the weight gain and then seeing that I could lose it, it kind of made it feel more like my fault or a personal responsibility that, look, I do have the control to change this, but I'm not choosing that. I'm choosing,
yeah, such a common myth that we are in control of our weight. And because what that does is it absolutely makes you feel responsible. Like, I'm doing this to myself. If I wanted it enough, then I wouldn't do this. And that is the game that we get stuck in, the game that's played in our head, mostly by our culture, right? That's sort of the message that's like, oh, you're overweight because you don't want it bad enough. You're not disciplined enough. If you just would eat less and move more, you wouldn't have this problem. And it's unfortunately, I don't think it's a message that will change anytime soon externally. So you have to just change it within yourself and let that be enough. That is 100% false.
Yeah, and I don't know how. I mean, I think that's really key for me, just thinking about how do I mentally change that, because my experience shows me that I am capable, which is like a good thing but a bad thing, but the capability of long-term happiness in coinciding with that is what's not there.
You're capable of manipulating it the same way you're capable of manipulating a person.
Yeah, totally.
That's how you have to think about it. Like, okay, I can do that. I can manipulate something for a result the same way I could manipulate a person. Or think about the times that maybe you've felt manipulated by someone. That feeling is what your body feels when you do that. Now, the reason why it responds in what you would perceive as a positive light is because the high that you're feeling from the dieting is tricking the body to thinking that you're doing something good. So at first it's on board. It's like, oh, cool. Like it's all good in here. She's happy. She's elated. She's like she's like eating really healthy and she's working out all the time. And like things are great in the weight loss world. We are all good. And then it's like some time goes by and the body's like, well, like WTF, like this was all false. Like this isn't even real. And that's when you that's when people say you hit a plateau. In my belief system and what I've studied, it's not a plateau. It's your body waking up and going like, hey, wait a second. I don't want to be
tricking me.
Like, what the heck? And so you have to manipulate it more and more. And you're just fighting each other constantly. And that's what we have to switch. So if you were manipulating somebody and getting a positive result from that person, and then you were like, you would have to have sort of like a come to Jesus moment of like, okay, is that how I want to have what I want from that person? Or is it time for me to like flip the script? And if you were to do that, then what you'd have to do is a little bit of soul searching and communication and conversation. Like, look, this has been happening this way for a long time. I don't want to do it this way anymore. Like, I would love to just honestly be here to support and help you and have a really like satisfying relationship with each other without control, without manipulation. And I want to trust that you can have that kind of relationship with me. And this is the kind of switch we have to make in our body. Like, this is the hardest part for you, is most likely going to be saying, I trust you, body, that you won't do what I don't want you to do.
That is the hardest part, because my experience is not that. So you start to lack that trust. And I think, maybe the first couple times in those younger years, it wasn't that mindset, but I would say like the last couple times I try that, and I know obvious, like it's just pieces are still missing because that's not working for me. Like I would say very currently I'm in that kind of position that I'm going like, okay, like I am just want to be happy. Like I just want to live normal life and do the things I love. And I do like to cook. I do like to eat good food. I grow a lot of my own food. I try, but I don't trust that it's going to work. So that is a tough part. I don't know how to get my mental brain into that.
Well, part of it, what some of the things that work for myself and my clients is when those conversations come up in your head, you need to have responses prepared, right? So that you can disprove it. So for example, if your mind says like, no, like you can't trust the body because every time that you've not been on it, you gain weight. So if you're not on it, you will gain weight. So my response to that would be, we've never actually tried to just be in the body with full trust, without the stress and the pressure of getting to the weight loss result or the fear of the weight gain, which is not actually an optimal environment, right? Even though you're saying like, I'm not going to diet anymore and I'm not going to do this anymore, I just want to be healthy and normal, there's still the conversation at the back of the head that's like, yeah, but
oh totally yeah. Oh, that's there for sure. That's right here.
So you technically, this is the conversation you're having with yourself, you've never actually tried it. Like you've never actually tried
I'm not ignoring you for a second. I'm going to text my mom to get the baby because the baby's crying on the monitor.
Okay.
Maybe she can actually probably hear me on here, but just in case she can.
There is a slight delay, but yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Wade is crying.
Awake.
He is awake. He is crying.
Please help. Send out the troops.
We're good.
Okay, awesome.
He's safe. He's little, so he's in a crib. It's not like he's banging at the door, gonna go climb up the stove or something.
Explore the house on his eyes on. Yeah, no worries. So one of the things we want to really remind yourself of is just that we've never actually tried this from the state of mind where we're creating an ideal environment in the body. So when the body does not burn fat, so we go back to in college when you came home and you gained a bunch of weight. Like the simplest explanation for that is that you did not have an ideal, optimal environment in your body, right? In order to burn fat or to not store fat, right? In order for things to run the way they're supposed to, or to actually create a weight loss result, we have to have an ideal environment in the body. And the easiest way to create that is like extreme relaxation, like just like calm. And like, I don't know about you, but when I was in college, that was not the case. It was not relaxed
and
not
like
at all. Carefree, right? And it doesn't mean that your life can't be stressful. It's how you're digesting it, right? So like what you're bringing into your body. You can't control the environment. You can control how you digest the environment. And so we look at things like when you eat food, for example, what state of mind are you in when you're eating it? Because you're either in fight or flight or rest and digest. So if you were to look at the majority of your meals, you can think about back then, you could think about now, where would you say you are? Fight or flight or rest and digest?
I mean, I am just a person that is a fight or flight person. So that is probably the majority of my meals, just simply because of course there's good parts to it, but I want to jam so much into my life. And there are so many things I want to do in my life that I feel like my life is always like hurry up this to get to this, to get to this, to get to this. So yes, probably lots of that for different reasons. But now it's sit down barely. I just got the kids seated. I know I have like 5 more minutes, but for the oldest is now rubbing the food in his hair. And so it's like, just eat it so that I can get it down, most meals are that way.
And the thing is, you don't have to be like meditating and zen out all day to get a result. You just have to have more of that than you currently do, right? So even if that is before you put food in your mouth, you take 5 deep breaths and you just center yourself and you create that relaxed environment before you put food, right? Because you have stressed out environment in the belly. It's all
Yeah.
stressed out, crazy, chaotic, running from here to there, blah,
It's
blah, blah.
funny because you said that. I instantly cued into that, like my stomach was like this. Like instantly when you were talking about like stomach, like just sitting here talking, I'm like tense in the stomach, and I'm not tense about anything, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm not surprised, right? So this is why the body can't function at its highest level. So before you eat, 3 deep breaths, 4 deep breaths, 5, whatever you can get in, 1 deep breath. Just shift your focus from whatever you were doing a second ago to I'm about to put food in my body, and I don't want to put food, like I picture if I'm in like crazy rushing go mode, picture your body is like, it's like World War III in there. Everyone's like crazy running around. It's a war zone, and you're like, here, let me throw a bunch of food, more things for you to do, and they're all like, like we can't handle anything else. And so you're like, too bad, like digest this food, which means you're not absorbing as many of the nutrients, you're not getting all of the benefits of it, and you're certainly not going to go through the ideal digestive metabolic processes that you hope for, right? So that's going to be really big for you, is just really deep breaths, especially while you eat. Now, outside of the eating experiences, how can you bring in more relaxation? It could be that every day before you get out of bed, you take 5 deep breaths. Like you're just trying to find these moments of slow.
Yeah.
The other thing I want you to remember is, well, what kind of music is like your favorite music?
I'm all over the place. Lately it's been like
one genre that you like.
Old school country, like John Prine, like just a guy and a guitar. That's
perfect. So when you listen to that old school country, I'm not a country fan, but I know enough about country to say the only reason I ask is because if you like heavy metal, this analogy might not work.
It's not as good.
But like the best parts of music are the spaces in between the notes, right? So when I think of like heavy metal, well, the reason why that gives me like anxiety is like that is exactly what's happening in my body 99% of the time. So like
I feel like that very often. I am
I cannot handle that music. I'll I don't even know, explode, right? The reason why music is so appealing is it has to have moments of pause in between notes. It's not just all jammed together. There's space. It has space to breathe. That's what makes it pleasurable. So I really want you to adopt the idea that like slow is ideal. Like
it's funny that you say that, because so my mom and I were walking today, and she was telling me about setting this thing on her. She got an app to like tell her to stand up just to change elevation. It was not even about her exercise, because she does exercise and walk, but it was just like to get up and get the blood flow moving. And I said to her, I'm like, I feel like I need an app to tell me to sit down. Like,
yes, you do.
Like how hers is like every 30 minutes. It's like, it's not about like going and getting a marathon every 30 minutes. It's just literally like get up and maybe walk to the other side of the room and back. And now that you're saying that, it's like, it's less of a joke that I said that to her earlier. It's like, even if it was 15 seconds to like sit down and like ground for a second and like relax and just deep breath, like I do think it could do me some good, because
100% it'll do you some good. It's going to switch the environment within your body, which is where weight loss happens.
I'm going to see if I can move out of the sun. That's
good, that little patch.
Layering me right.
Now for your walking, I want you to push yourself to walk as slow as possible.
Oh my God.
Which is going to kill you.
So hard.
I want you to try to talk as slow as possible, to type as slow as possible, to read as slow as possible. You need to get in the habit. By the way, your slow as possible is going to be still faster than like most people. So you doing that is going to be just taking it down a notch. It's going to reduce the craziness and chaos inside of your body. Then your movement, I don't know what you're doing for your workout, like, so walking slow, but whatever you're doing for your workouts, I highly recommend swapping it out for yoga.
Something, yeah.
Slow, not power yoga,
Yeah.
slow yoga. So I have a yoga
Yeah.
studio virtually if you want to try some of our classes, which would be great
Yeah.
for you. But it doesn't matter what it is. Just
Sure.
I would love to see whatever time you're carving out to be in your body, that it's as slow as possible.
I mean, I definitely feel I've done, you know, some yoga stints, and before I started this one, I'm doing a beach body right now. And of course, what did I pick? What am I doing right now? I'm doing 10 rounds boxing because it's all like bat, 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 like crazy.
Work.
Yeah, right. It's fun. It's super fun, and I will probably finish it. And I definitely, like, I'm putting on muscle. I can feel that, which is great, but it's not something I struggle with, is putting on muscle. Like, I can put on muscle like that. But you know, I'm up for that because I love the way that yoga makes me feel. That's for sure. It is something that is that, you know, slow, that slow centering that feels good. So
I'm going to tell you right now that when I do high intensity exercise is when my body stores fat. When I do low intensity exercise. So I'm just going to make a guess because we have a lot of similarities in the way that we approach life, that probably high intensity exercise needs to kind of exit your life permanently. And I had to like do a grieving process for it because I was like, I went from like high intensity circuit training, crazy cardio, everything. And then I switched to power yoga, which was still better. But when I realized that even power yoga is not what my body wanted, is like, I was like having an argument with my body, like, but why? Sure. And my body's like, no, it's not balancing. I don't want it. So I'm going to make a huge guess here that probably does not have a place in your life. Well, here, let me put it this way. You'd either have to like slow down 90% everywhere else in your life to keep that high intensity exercise. Sure. Or you can be realistic and just switch out the exercise.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely always willing to. I think I'm pretty in tune with my body, kind of, sort of, in certain ways. So I mean, I love the suggestion, and I will love to feel the way it feels. It is a grieving process. I can already feel like the internal emotional like tug at it, that it's like it's such a draw for it.
I mean, I don't know if that helps motivate you. It's your weight loss path. Slow movement. If you want to switch the environment in your body, if you do yoga, you're in rest and digest the entire duration. So if you do a 60-minute yoga class, you're in rest and digest for 60 minutes that day. And it lingers.
Sure.
It usually lingers for hours after.
And it gives you an opportunity to. Yeah. I mean, it's funny. It is. I think the drive with it, and maybe, of course, this catapults into other components of life, but what it makes me think is I have to find other avenues for expression of competition and expression of like,
yoga is kind of, you can compete with flexibility.
That's true.
You can compete with the poses, like, or you can try to do a headstand, right? Like, try to do a headstand, try to do the splits, try to do, like, push your body in those ways, not in the more stressful, like, not how fast can I go, how hard can I push, how strong can I be, but the biggest way to challenge yourself that will benefit you the most is how present can you be? How can you do one activity at a time? When you're washing the dishes, challenge yourself to just literally feel the dish in your hand and the water and the soap, and nothing. Don't try to shut your brain off. Try not to think about anything else. Like, your challenge is single tasking, one task at a time. That's how you can challenge yourself. Think about, I like to give the analogy of your body is like a business and you're the CEO. And so if your weight loss department is like a department, like it would be in a business, and you're the CEO, and there's a bunch of workers in there. So you got the digestion workers and the metabolism workers and all the different workers in there, and they're all trying to do a bunch of work. I want you to think about how many tasks you're giving your body on a, I don't know, hourly basis. It's like you're piling so many things on your workers' desks. And then you're like, what's wrong with you? Why are you not like functioning optimally.
Productive.
Why you guys
Yeah.
stuck down there? And they're like,
Sure.
we're drowning in work. We're trying to do 2 years ago's work still, and you just keep piling on more. So like when you think about
Sure.
your body and like why I can't trust my body to lose weight, you've never given it a fighting chance.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. And I think there is, you know, like what I'm saying I'm in currently. And then it's like, I can only tolerate it for so long. And it seems to be like, it's not working. And then is when bad habits creep in, because it's like, well, if it's not working anyways, then why the hell, like, why do I even try for this intermediate level? And, yeah, I mean, slowing down is definitely something that I think is you're hitting it on the head, is like life's greatest challenge for me. Just
Me too.
like, but I want to do so
I know.
many things.
I do this
But
exercise. I do this exercise in the morning where I write, I do my yoga, I do my meditation, and then I do my journaling and my affirmations and I read. And every morning in my affirmations, I write, I am not in a rush. And every time I write it, I'm like,
I hope I didn't lose you.
oh, did I freeze on
What
you?
happened there? Crap.
Hold on, I will stop the video for a second. And
It froze for a second.
All right.
Okay.
We're good?
Yeah.
So every morning I write in my affirmations, I'm not in a rush. And every time I write it, my internal dialogue laughs because it's like, yeah, you are. But
Yeah.
This is what I'm cultivating: slow and patience. And
Sure.
even though it's difficult for me, the easiest swap I ever made in my life. So going back to 2008 when I was in my car accident, the reason why I lost weight lying on the couch, unable to move, is because imagine taking your life right now, the speed you're going, the amount of tasks, and you were forced to just be still, but you didn't fight with it, because that's the difference. A lot of people gain weight when they're injured. Yeah. The reason I didn't is because I said, sure, what can I do? Right? I might as well just sit back and enjoy it, because I can't possibly do anything to change it. Sure. And I surrendered to it, and I did absolutely nothing. And my body, I dropped 10 pounds in 30 days, not moving. That's what's possible if I could get you to slow down. Yeah. Right? Even a little bit. So if you need motivation, there it is. It's what your body needs. Yeah. If it could scream to you, it would say, please slow down. We are
and I think
drowning.
That is clear, because I think what I see is like when my day ends, quote unquote ends, like with my kids, I see, and my husband goes to bed because he works early, like I crave those things. I crave those like slow connection with myself, like time with myself. Like it's very obvious that is what is like missing, but of course it makes sense. Like it doesn't have to be necessarily separate. And I think I'm curious what you think of this, but do you think coming to terms with it with yourself, you have found a way that it's one of those things that it's like you actually don't have to lose production, you don't actually have to lose, it's just state of mind during, and also potentially becoming more efficient in a less, like I think I'm pretty dang efficient, but I'm not open to the possibility that there are improvements to be made in the way that I
doubt efficiency is your problem at all.
Yeah.
Some of the things I had to remind myself of is like what actually has to be done today.
Sure.
Right? Like, so I'm trying to cram so much, and for what? Because it doesn't actually have to happen today. There's no reason why it can't happen later this week. So part of that productivity is like, this can wait. I also have kind of like a mantra in my head where I can feel, and you'll the more you slow down, the easier it's going to be for you to notice this. When you start to feel I'm going to say anxiety, but whatever. The quick pay, the like rapid,
the fervor.
Like, okay, so you know when you end yoga and you're all zenned out, okay? And then when you start to lose that, and it's like things start going, okay, so that process of when that happens becomes really obvious. And I can feel it in my body, like super, super obvious. And so that's when I just take like 3 breaths. Like, okay.
Get rid of that.
Just take a breath. And that's literally all that it is. The other thing I will say is if you do yoga and meditation regularly, your pacing will naturally and automatically slow down without you having to try. It'll just happen. Everything starts to slow down because you're not in fight or flight anymore, which is where everything is crazy. You know, it's like your body feels like it's having to run away from a bear all the time. And so when you do, so I wake up now my son is 5. This probably won't work for you with the younger one. Because he is self-sufficient in the morning, but I wake up and and I, in my pajamas, roll into my office. I lay out my yoga mat and I do 30 minutes at least of yoga, like before anything else. And sometimes Rome will sit in here with his iPad and watch a show while I'm doing my yoga, and it's not as relaxing. He's always like talking to me, but at least I'm getting it in, right? And you can use, I use virtual yoga, live or pre-recorded. And that's how I start my day, so that
you're setting a pace and a tone.
Setting a pace. And the times that I wake up and like, I'm not gonna lie, there are times when my brain didn't shut off all night, and I wake up and I just come straight to my computer and start working because I can't like turn it off. And those days feel completely different than the other, right? So that, like, how you start your day. Now, you might not be able to go do a whole yoga practice because your kids are so young, but you can at least like take 10 deep breaths before you know, I don't know. Maybe as you're peeing in the morning.
No, I know I can't.
Everyone's got to pee in the morning, right?
A lot of things that need to be done. I have a lot of things that need to be done, but I know very, very well that I fill every waking moment with things that I'm choosing to prioritize. So I know that there is time to put something in if I make that a priority on my list, you know. I'm very in agreement with that. You'll never hear out of me like, I don't have time. Like, no, I do. I just have to want to make time for it.
Exactly. And I think you will when your body starts to feel the change. And then the other mantra that I use often is, I'm not willing to sacrifice my peace. Like my peace, my calm, my like that, and my connection with my body. Like nothing can penetrate that. So if somebody asks me to do something, for example, and I'm already got a lot on my list, it's like, nope, that's going to get in the way of my peace. And I'm not willing to sacrifice that. So I can help you tomorrow, next week, but absolutely not. I know that's going to push me over the edge. And when I get into overwhelm, it's very difficult to get out of it. And so I have a lot of boundaries around what I'm willing to fit in my capacity. And when you have kids, it's like used up like 90% just by them because they need so many things. So like being honest with yourself about what you actually want to do in a day and where you can remove some of that is going to be important as well. And when you eat, being calm and relaxed. And you might not be able to be completely focused on your meal for the entire duration of the meal, but at least be conscious and focused and relaxed when you're putting food in your mouth and swallowing it. Even if it's for 2 seconds, you go right back to crazy. If you can just make that path. Like food does not enter this body unless it's calm. Like that is the boundary.
That's definitely not happening currently. So
right. And so
it was usually fever pitch.
No, I'm not surprised. I mean, this is why I say when people tell me, you know, I can't get rid of these beliefs, can't trust my body. Hopefully this is helping you see like, well, I've never done it this way though. So I really have no reason to say I can't trust my body because I've never actually given it all the tools it needs to do its job efficiently.
Maybe it'll come on camera for you, but my little fat pig is coming over to say
oh my God, that's cute.
A real pig. I'm not teasing about somebody else coming in the camera. It's really my little fat pig.
Actual pig.
Hopefully he doesn't. He's too big and fat to knock over at this or to pick up at this point. But
oh my goodness,
big fatty cheddar pig. hey, do not eat the baby monitor. Oh my heavens.
Well, pigs do eat everything, right? That's what they're known for.
Yeah, pretty much. They'll eat anything. But
does that all make sense? Like,
it does, yeah.
Okay. Are you feeling like you understand a little bit more about why your body could potentially have chosen to gain?
I do. It's funny because pre this, you know, I did a lot of like mental searching around, like, you know, and talked to a couple people about it, of course. And I'm like, what could it be? Like, what could be the mental shift that, you know, I'm all about power of intention and even science of mindy type stuff. Like, that's fine. But I'm like, I just can't imagine anything that is that powerful or potent. But I like, even already, like, I could see how that could be really potent for my life. Like, implementing it is another thing. You know, I'm sure it's going to be a lot of this, like, and like this, and then reminders to myself, and, you know, all of that business. And
Well,
I think, yeah,
just so
there's
you know,
some,
I have a 60-day program that gives you one simple task each day for 60 days to help this happen. So that could potentially be an option for you to keep you on track. But like I said, my whole goal for today was just for you to see the blinder of like, okay, now I get, like, my whole goal with everybody I talk to is just to open up so they can go, that's what the problem is. Like, I can trust my body because this is not what I was doing. And what it comes, like, the simplest explanation for weight loss is fulfilling all of your body's needs. That's it. Like, that's your entire goal in life. If you fulfill all your body's needs, then it runs smoothly. Now, I can't tell you what your ideal weight will be because that's person to person. But I will guarantee you that if you fulfill all your body's needs, you will be at your ideal weight. It's really that simple. The challenge is we're disconnected from our bodies because we're taught to rely on external methods for weight loss, like keto, right? So we're not asking our body what it wants, we're following a plan. When our body says, I want that, or I don't want that, or I like the way this feels, or I don't like the way this feels, we're usually ignoring it. And so over time, the body stops communicating its needs. And so that's the first problem. And then the second problem is when we do hear our needs, we often disobey them. And why? There's a multitude of reasons why. But so what happens is we have this very severed, disconnected relationship with our body, the thing that is supposed to burn the fat. And so, and not only are we not connected to it, we're often not very nice to it. So there's this battle of unkindness that's happening. And then, so we're like yelling at it all the time. We're manipulating it all the time. We're ignoring it all the time. And then we're like, why aren't you better? What's your problem? And it's like, seriously?
I think a huge thing that I do is, like you're saying, I ask so much of my body.
Yes,
like
I'm not surprised.
And I'm very hard on my body, even like down to like little things like not wearing good shoes, and I'm barefoot all the time and like step on things, and like I'm hard on my body. I just like, I want it to function and just expect it to be this machine that it works for some things, but it doesn't for others, you know.
Well,
that whole started,
it just has to put other things on the back burner to do all that, right? Like, it only has so much. So like, it's put its ideal fat burning task way at the bottom of the list because you've given it daily more important tasks to do. So it's like, that's there on the list and it would love to get to it, but it can't. You give it too much.
Yeah, I do give it a lot. For sure, I give it a lot.
And then no appreciation, right? Like going back to the example, if your body was a business, it's like usually we're running that department, we're overworking the department, we're underfeeding it a lot of the times, or we're overfeeding it. So we're still, either way, we're not giving it ideal. We're not like I think of the best work environment is like, you're playing your country music that you love, you're just like singing, you're relaxed, you're high-fiving your employees, you're like, who needs pencils, who needs paper, I got you, let me go to the store and get you, what do you need? You know, not micromanaging, manipulating, yelling, demanding 17 tasks in 1 minute. That's usually the environment most people have in their bodies. And I'm telling you to create the kickback, relax, cool boss, where you have the best employees that you could ever hire. Like, they don't even need to be trained. They came to you highly trained, ready to perform. And then
I do wholeheartedly believe that. I think our bodies are freaking amazing, spectacular things.
Well, then why wouldn't you trust it?
My experience, I guess, but I see how there's missing components, and I think maybe, or one major missing component, and that is part of it though, is I'm going like, God, I feed you really good. Like, I do all this stuff for you. Like, why aren't you behaving? Like, and it just kind of creates this disconnect, you know? It's a frustration and almost, I mean, for a lot of years, I really genuinely thought there was maybe like a medical issue.
Yes, me too.
It just didn't make sense. Like, it was like, you know, there must be endocrine, or there must be, and then it was like each thing came up and it was like, no, you're really, really healthy. And I'm like, well, damn.
Same experience. And even because I was talking to trainers and all these people, and they're like, there must be something medically wrong with you, because there's no reason that you shouldn't be losing weight. And like, nobody could tell me.
Sure.
And then I can't move and I drop weight. Like, I'm not even trying. Like, that was the huge revelation. Like,
sure,
there's nothing wrong with me. I've just never given my body a fighting chance.
Sure.
Seriously. The minute I decided to get healthier or get fit or whatever you want to call it, I immediately was like, let's do 75 things and let's do it from this very unhealthy place, and like all this manipulation. And I didn't even ask. Like, imagine if you go back to the very first time you ever attempted to lose weight, and what if your first step before even research on the internet or reading a book was, hey body, I would like to be more fit, or whatever. What would you like? What would you like? What do you need? Like, what if that was the first step? I didn't even ask. I was like, let me tell you. Let me tell you what you need.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's
and then when you get any response, you get absolutely hooked on that response. Yeah. You go, oh, it worked. I manipulated.
Yeah, in the same way that if you like had a bunch of employees and you did feed them really good food and then you gave them a bunch of caffeine pills, you'd get pretty good production for a while, right? They would work their asses off for a while until they all hit their walls and you find them sleep on their desk.
Yeah.
The caffeine crash.
Yeah.
So they can only go that way, you know, for so long. What if you gave them a bunch of cocaine? They're all like hyped up on cocaine. What do you think's gonna happen on the come down? False sense of production, right?
Yeah.
Man, you guys did great when you were doing cocaine. What happened? Well, you gave us drugs, so
well,
it's
right.
Really not realistic for lifelong. So extreme example.
Yeah,
get the point.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You feel like clear on a starting place of where you need to go?
Yeah, I mean, I think I have a couple, you know, just like 3 major things for me to implement. Definitely just coming to awareness when I'm eating. I mean, the breathing will help too, but I think just even mental awareness will make a huge shift, you know, just to come inward for a second and just like check in with myself and see where I'm at and attempt to bring down that level of crazy pitch going on. While I'm eating, that's a good place to start. I am going to finish. I'm so close to the end of my 10 rounds. I'm going to finish my 10 rounds. Mm-hmm. I have like 6 days left. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm too competitive not to freaking finish.
I'm going to say, so I have to tell you one of the things. I worked with this business coach for many years, and he told us we had to email our list every day, whatever, totally unrelated. But I asked him once, I was like, well, like he's telling me this is what works, right? You have to email your list every day. And I was like, well, that seems like a lot. Like, what if I emailed like maybe once a week? He's like, yeah, if you want to make less money. And I was like, I can't. So I'm going to say the same thing to you.
Yeah. I want to not lose weight for an extra week.
You do your last 6 days, but let me tell you what it signifies if you don't. It would be equivalent to you leaving the last bite of food on your plate because you know you're full. It'd be equivalent to your body saying, I'm tired, and you saying, you know what, I'm gonna actually ask someone to watch my kids and I'm gonna go lay in bed and rest. Like, you not pushing your body to do this that I almost can guarantee it doesn't want to do, is an enormous conversation to have with your body. So I'm not going to tell you what to do because I believe in autonomy, but I'm going to make a strong recommendation.
I'll marinate on it. And then the third thing is, I'm kind of not kidding. Like, I maybe think I'm gonna see if I can do something with my Fitbit that's a reminder of like a 30-minute. Even
they have.
Do they have? Well, because they have a relax thing, but what's super weird?
Mindfulness. Hold on, I'm bringing it up. They have track your mindfulness, and so
is that the breathing one? Because the really funny thing, the breathing one, at least on mine, it's too fast. What it wants me to breathe, it raises my heart rate.
So you're breathing. Yeah. So yes. So when you use the breathing,
mine tells me to like follow a circle.
It's following you first. It's trying to gather your breathing pattern, and then it cues.
Well, how funny. So that means I'm coming into it. So maybe I need to spend a minute first, like bringing myself to calm, and then try it. Because every single time I feel like I'm flipping hyperventilating doing it. I'm like, this is not relaxing. Like, not even at all.
No, it's using yours. Like, it tracks your heart rate and stuff. So it let me tell you.
And can I set it through the app on my phone to like give me reminders to do it?
I think you can. Like, so I'm not a big fan of external anything because I want you to learn the internal cueing. But when you're first starting out, it's nice to have the reminder. So even if it's just setting a reminder on your phone every hour to breathe, it's a tool. It's not something
I can probably do that.
Yeah, but I think it does, because just like you can set like goals for steps, you can set goals for mindfulness. And just to piggyback on that, because if people are wondering why I have a Fitbit of all people, let me be really clear. I don't track it was funny that you posted your steps. I have an average of 3,000 steps a day, to give you some reference on how much I don't move. So I don't use it for steps. I don't use it for calories. I use it for sleep, heart rate, a watch. And I think that's all I really use it for. That's it. I could care less about calories burned. It means nothing to me. Care less about steps. I recommend you do the same. But it does have some cool features for the mindfulness that would be, look into that.
Well, it's definitely a 180, I mean, in terms of just like the steps and stuff, my property in my life, like on the days I don't try, like I gave myself like a woohoo with my group when I was under 20,000 steps, finally, for the first time in like 4 weeks.
Well, like, just walk slow. Like, you're going to walk, just walk slow. And they have mindfulness. I mean, they have walking meditations that might work really well for you. You could just listen to them like on YouTube.
Well, and that's just simply running, like go feed the pigs, come back. That's days I don't walk, like for exercise.
I know, but you have to walk out to those places, right? So I would put in put in your headphones and play a walking meditation that'll force you to walk slower. See if you can sync your walking to your deep breathing. But like, you have all this opportunity. You have to get from one place to the other. How can you incorporate relaxation and mindfulness in those times that you're already going to be, you have these opportunities, right? That's why I give the example of washing the dishes, an opportunity to be present. So you have all these opportunities to become really present. When you're walking, feel the breeze on your skin, like bring in your senses, feel what's underneath your toes. It's okay to be barefoot, feel the soil, feel the grass, feel the sun, notice the smells. Like, if you can bring in all your senses, you'll be really, really present. And the other way to practice mindfulness is just never to have your phone near you, right? So that way you're just doing, so if you're watching TV, you're not watching TV and using your phone. Someone's talking, you're listening, you're not on your phone. There's lots of times you can practice this that will make an enormous impact on your day-to-day life. Like, I will be shocked if you don't just start dropping weight the more you slow down. I would be shocked.
We will see.
Yeah, I can almost bet on it. And I've been doing this for 12 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm thrilled. I really appreciate you reaching out. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely a big whoop-de-whoop for my brain.
I bet.
It's almost kind of funny because now after having the conversation, it's a little bit like, why was this not the first thing that I thought of when I was thinking about like what potentially is the conversation? Like,
Because nobody
of
talks
course,
about it.
I guess, yeah, but it's just strange. It's like, why,
It's
for me,
obvious.
of course,
It's
it's
obvious
obvious in retrospect.
when you
Yeah.
hear it.
It's
But let me
kind
tell
of,
you, never crossed my mind until I lost weight without moving. Never.
sure.
Never would I have believed that I could not move and lose weight, that I could do
Sure.
less and lose weight. I would have never bought into that, but it happened. And then I did the whole food psychology program. And that's when I understood why it all worked.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, I know you're saying this and I love moving, and like, just like you love moving and you do yoga, but moving with intention and at a different pace, and also just even simply the mindfulness with the movement of a different mindset, not this crazy
Now,
town.
it's very possible.
I don't, it's so funny. You and I both do this. We're physical people. Like,
I know.
I use like physical ways to explain like how I feel. Like, that's just, yeah, I don't know how to say it in words. So
It's very possible that once you balance everything out, that you might crave more active, higher intensity movements. But I can almost
sure.
guarantee that it's not going to be for a while. Like your
Yeah.
pendulum has swung so far this way. We have to swing it
Sure.
back this way to find balance. So when we swing it back this way, it has
Sure.
to be like the opposite of what you're doing. And so it's going to
Sure.
be like extreme slowing down for a while until you can kind of like mellow out into the middle and have a balance of both.
I wonder what my husband's gonna think. My husband is so mellow, like that he is just gonna like,
Mine
wait,
too.
what?
Yeah.
This is, yeah, he is that balance to me typically in the life, but
You got this.
yeah.
And I'll send you a link after this with the program if you want to look more into that.
Cool.
And you can, that way you have some guidance as you do it. But other than that, you got a lot to get started with. It's going to be an enormous shift in your life. It was for me, but I honestly live a life where I don't think about weight at all ever, and I haven't in 12 years.
Yeah. I definitely think 3 main things, that even just those 3 things that seem small are a huge shift for me mentally, and are going to be a challenge in and of themselves. So fully. Yeah. Well,
all right. Well, thank you for being here with us. So many people will be able to relate to where you're at and the takeaways that you had today. So I appreciate your presence here. And we will check back in with you in a few weeks to see where you're at. We can update everybody. And other than that, enjoy the rest of this beautiful day, and we will talk soon.
All right. Thank you so much, Michelle.
You're welcome.